The billionaire faked his coma, but when his nurse whispered her secret, everything changed forever. The secret: he was never supposed to hear the heart monitor beeped steadily in room 412 of Meridian Medical Center, one of the most prestigious private hospitals in New York City. The room smelled of sterile linen and fresh flowers, white lilies, delivered every morning by his personal assistant. The patient in the bed, Ethan Cole, 38 years old, founder and CEO of Cole Enterprises, was worth an estimated $4.7 billion, and he was completely, perfectly, convincingly faking. Ethan had made his decision 3 weeks ago, sitting in his penthouse office on the 42nd floor, staring at spreadsheets that showed exactly who in his inner circle was loyal and who was planning to destroy him. His board of directors had been plotting a hostile takeover. His business partner of 12 years had been secretly negotiating with competitors. Even his fiancée had been photographed having dinner with his most dangerous rival. He needed answers. He needed proof. And he needed to disappear long enough to get both. His private physician, the only man he trusted completely, had helped him check into Meridian under controlled circumstances, medically induced deep sedation mimicking a coma-like state for the first 4 days, just enough to make the medical records believable. After that, Ethan had simply chosen to stay still. He was a man who had built an empire on patience and strategy. Lying in a hospital bed for a few weeks was nothing. What he hadn't planned for was Nurse Clara Bennett. Clara was 29, quiet and relentlessly competent. She had transferred to the neurology ward 6 months earlier after finishing her master's degree in nursing. She worked double shifts without complaint. She remembered every patient's preferences without being told twice. She spoke softly and moved through the room like she was afraid of disturbing the air itself. From his first day of conscious stillness, Ethan noticed her. She was different from the others. The other nurses treated him like an important object, careful, clinical, respectful of his status. Clara treated him like a person. She talked to him during her shifts, not out of obligation, but out of what seemed like genuine belief that he could hear her. Studies show that coma patients retain auditory awareness more than we think, she told him one afternoon, adjusting his foreline with practiced ease. So I always talk to my patients. It feels wrong not to. Ethan kept his eyes closed and his breathing slow and even. She told him small things at first, about the weather outside, about a book she was reading, about how the hospital cafeteria had finally gotten decent coffee, which she considered a minor miracle. Her voice was steady and warm, and something about it made the tension in Ethan's chest loosen, a sensation he hadn't felt in years. Weeks passed, the outside world churned. His lawyers were quietly gathering evidence. His security team was tracking communications. Everything was proceeding according to plan. But Ethan found himself looking forward to Clara's shifts in a way that had nothing to do with strategy. It was on a Tuesday evening, in the blue hour just after visiting hours had ended, that everything changed. Clara had finished charting and came back to his room for one final check before her shift ended. She thought she was alone. She sat down in the chair beside his bed. She always did this just for a few minutes, and she was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I'm going to say something I shouldn't." Ethan kept his breathing perfectly even. "I've been a nurse for 6 years," she said. "I've taken care of hundreds of patients. I've held the hands of people who were dying. I've sat with families who were falling apart. I'm good at keeping walls up. I'm really good at it." She paused. "But you scare me, Mr. Cole." His pulse, hidden beneath professional calm, quickened. "Not because of who you are, not because of the money or the people in expensive suits who come and stand in the doorway and talk about you like you're a balance sheet." Her voice was soft but perfectly clear. "You scare me because I actually care what happens to you, and I don't know when that happened, and I know it's completely inappropriate, and I know you're going to wake up eventually and go back to your impossible life, and I'm just going to be one of the nurses from the 4th floor who changed your 4 bags." She laughed quietly at herself, a small self-deprecating sound. "But you're kind, even unconscious. Isn't that strange? The way your assistant talks about you when she thinks no one's listening. The way your housekeeper cried the first week you were here. People don't cry like that for people who are just powerful. They cry like that for people who actually matter." Ethan lay completely still, but inside, something old and protected had cracked open. "I hope you wake up," Clara said. "I hope you wake up and you're okay. And I hope whatever you were running from when you collapsed, because I don't think this was just a medical event. I think something broke in you. I hope you figure it out." She stood up, smoothed her scrubs, and reached out to gently adjust the blanket at his shoulder. "Good night, Mr. Cole." She turned off the small bedside lamp and walked out. Ethan opened his eyes in the darkness and stared at the ceiling for a very long time. He had built his entire life on reading people, on understanding motivations and angles and the invisible architecture of what people really wanted. He had become a billionaire by being right about human nature more often than anyone else, and Clara Bennett was the most genuine person he had encountered in over a decade. She hadn't been performing for a coma patient. She hadn't been angling for anything. She had simply told the truth in the dark, the way people only do when they believe no one is listening. Over the next 3 days, Ethan made his decision. On Friday morning, while Clara was on duty, he let his fingers move. She noticed immediately. She was across the room, updating her notes, and she turned around so fast that her chair scraped the floor. She crossed to his bedside in 4 steps, her eyes wide and professional, and something else, something she quickly locked down. "Mr. Cole, can you hear me? Squeeze my hand if you can hear me." He squeezed her hand. Clara's breath left her in a long, controlled exhale. Her hand tightened around his briefly, just for 1 second, just one, before she straightened and reached for the call button. "I'm getting the doctor. You're okay. You're going to be okay." The room filled quickly after that. Doctors, monitors, his assistant Elena, who burst through the door with tears streaming down her face, his security team in the hallway, phone calls being made, the machinery of his empire, spinning back to life. Clara stepped back as the room filled. Ethan watched her through carefully half-closed eyes as she moved to the periphery, calm and capable, answering the doctor's questions about his vitals and responses over the past weeks. Professional, composed, already becoming invisible in the crowd. He didn't let that happen. Nurse Bennett. His voice came out rougher than he intended. He hadn't spoken in weeks and it showed. The room paused. Clara stopped retreating. She met his eyes across the crowded room, and for just a moment he saw it. Surprise, and something careful and unguarded underneath. "Thank you," Ethan said clearly, "for talking to me." The pause lasted 1 second. 2. Then Clara nodded, professional and quiet, and said, "That's what we're here for, Mr. Cole. Welcome back." He was discharged 10 days later, after a carefully staged recovery that satisfied both the medical community and the press. His security team had, in the meantime, delivered everything he needed. Documented proof of the betrayals on his board, a recorded conversation between his partner and their rival, and photographs that had ended his engagement without drama or public spectacle. Ethan Cole stepped out of Meridian Medical Center into October sunlight, his attorney on one side and Elena on the other, and felt, for the first time in years, like a man who had actually rested. He had one stop to make before his car took him back to the office. Clara was finishing the last hour of her shift when the charge nurse found her at the station and said, with a look of frank disbelief, "There's someone asking for you in the lobby." She found Ethan standing near the window, dressed simply, no entourage. He looked different, upright, broader, more present. But his eyes were the same as she'd seen in that 10-second exchange across the crowded room. "You knew," he said when she reached him. Clara didn't pretend. "I had a theory," she said carefully. "Since when?" "Week 2. A pause. "Your vitals were too controlled for someone in your condition. And you flinched once when the TV was too loud. Almost nothing, but I noticed." Ethan was quiet for a moment. "And you didn't say anything." "It wasn't my place to say anything." She looked at him steadily. "Whatever reason you had, it wasn't my business. But you kept talking to me anyway. I keep talking to all my patients. You know what I mean." She met his gaze. "Yes, I do." He reached into his jacket and held out an envelope. She looked at it but didn't take it immediately. "It's not what you think," he said. "It's not a check. It's an invitation to a dinner. Private. No press, no strategy, no agenda. Just dinner." He paused. "I haven't had a conversation with someone who had absolutely nothing to gain from me in a very long time. I'd like to try that again, voluntarily, while I'm vertical." Clara looked at the envelope. She looked at him. "You're very strange, Mr. Cole," she said. "I know." She took the envelope. 2 years later, a profile in Forbes magazine about Ethan Cole's legendary corporate recovery included a small detail that editors almost cut for space. It mentioned, almost in passing, that the billionaire had recently married a New York nurse named Clara Bennett in a private ceremony attended by fewer than 30 people. The detail that made it past the editors, the groom had reportedly cried. Those who knew Ethan Cole, really knew him, were not surprised. They had watched him over the past 2 years slowly become someone they almost didn't recognize. Quieter, more deliberate, more present. A man who had spent his whole life calculating the angles, finally letting someone in who had never once asked for anything. Clara, for her part, gave one interview, to a small nursing journal, not a glossy magazine, in which she was asked what she thought was the most important part of patient care. Presence, she said without hesitating, showing up consistently even when, especially when, you think no one is listening. The journalist had smiled and asked if she was still working. Part-time, Clara said. I'm not the kind of person who stops. She wasn't. And neither, it turned out, was the man who had lain still long enough to finally hear something true.